All right, friends, it's T-Man. We are back with Jason Blaha video again, man. So we're gonna react to the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness, gear slave himself, Jason Blaha. So Blaha says, how much protein do we need to gain muscle? Okay. He's doing this again. This is like the 100th time he must have made this video.
How much protein do we actually need to gain muscle? Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today.
You want to know how much protein you need to eat to build muscle? All right, I'm going to tell you. If you damage muscles, then protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. That's how much protein you need to eat, which is what? A lot. There's no real number. In other words, let's put it this way. I'll explain it this way. Maybe you'll understand it. You have something called nitrogen balance. More nitrogen needs to be taken in than is leaving your body, okay? So what happens is this. If you are in this so-called building phase, you've damaged your muscles, you're building, whatever. If you have a hunger pain, what's going to happen is your nitrogen balance is going to drop, and you're now in a catabolic state. See, you're like, oh, I'm waiting to see if I get hungry. No, you shouldn't be waiting to see if you're going to be hungry. If you're trying to build muscle on your body, see what I mean? So when it does dip, it takes quite a while to get back up again, to go back to a positive nitrogen balance. It takes a while. So when there's a drop, you're in a catabolic state now. See what I mean? So you need to eat a lot. You definitely do not want to have any hunger pains. If you do, then you're in negative nitrogen balance. See what I mean? You're not really growing. It's complicated. How do you try to keep a good positive nitrogen balance? Well, it's simple, okay? So these people, you're the ordinary lifter, you're eating. You truly do want to incorporate some supplements like amino acids in your diet to keep that positive nitrogen balance. See what I mean? That's definitely going to help you. There's other factors about amino acids, why you want to take them. They're the building blocks of protein. They also assist in building collagen, which is the glue that holds your body together. They actually consider amino acids a type of youth supplement, actually. You know that? Because it increases HGH. You'll notice a big difference. As soon as you take, especially if you're an older person, you start taking amino acids, you notice a difference right away. You look like you're getting younger. That's because the collagen production is being ramped up. Depending on the dosages that you're taking, these amino acids, how many you're taking a day, I don't know, whatever. And you're incorporating some heavy eccentric lifting. That will increase more testosterone, more hormones, and incorporating the amino acids. That's going to ramp up collagen production like crazy. So you're going to notice your skin is getting tighter. So yeah, you're going to start looking better. You're going to look tighter, fresher, younger. You're going to feel stronger, better, a bunch of stuff. So yeah, anyway, so you need to eat a lot of protein. Let's just put it that way. You need to be in positive nitrogen balance.
If you guys would, though, please give me a like down below. Greatly appreciate it. If you are not subscribed or following me, please.
Oh, another thing is, if you're in negative nitrogen balance, it will affect your athletic abilities as well. If you're an athlete, I don't know what you're an athlete in, but whatever it is you're doing there, you definitely want to be in positive nitrogen balance. But in this case, in bodybuilding, we're exceeding that balance. You understand me? We're exceeding. Protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown.
Do so, and if you guys would leave me a comment down below, even just to say hello or to give your thoughts, I would absolutely appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's get over to the topic. All right, I want to state this is a bit of nuance. There's a difference between how much protein seems to max out muscle growth and how much protein gives us other metabolic benefits, recovery benefits, things like that, because these are two very different questions. So to answer up front, we've got enormous amounts of data on this. Muscle growth tends to pretty much cap out in every single study If it's mixed source of protein, meaning high quality animal proteins in there, high bioavailability
It caps out. He's making this stuff up. Proof?
around protein, meaning high quality animal proteins in there, high bioavailability around
High,
1.
high quality. It's all high quality. Yeah, it's high quality. This guy's crazy, man. A cow, if you which part is the highest quality? It's all high quality. It's a cow, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's some more nutrient. There's more nutrients in some parts than others. Okay.
0.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. Okay, and that's a little lower. That's
So that doesn't make any sense. What he just said, 6 grams per body weight. To do what exactly? Do what? If you have a damaging session, protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. You are in an apoptosis after your workout. I don't know what kind of workouts he does. He's adapted to his exercises. You're just turning over protein. You're not if you're not damaging muscles and it's blunted and you go home and there's nothing going on there, get it? You just what? You went there to the gym to do what? To lift boxes all day like a factory worker, to lift somebody's weights, pay them money to lift their weights all day. You know how many people go to how many retarded people go to a gym, they pay a fee to go to a gym to lift every single day, 6 days a week, and they say, oh, I'm taking off a rest day. You're taking off a rest day to do what? To go back to the gym to lift some guy's weights that I paid him money. I paid him $100 a month so I could go lift his weights in the gym in an adapted state. How retarded is that? Now, a lot of people tell me this. I go, to build muscle, you have to do this, this, this. They go, yeah, but I paid my membership fee. So because they paid a membership fee, they believe that they have to go there every day lifting like a lifting slave. You understand me? This is the problem with these slaves. They don't make enough money, and so they're cheap. And so they're like, yeah, but I paid the membership. I pay monthly, so I have to go to the gym. I have to use it. Okay, go there every day. Go use it. But lifting weights, they don't build bodies, they break bodies down. You understand me? They can exhaust you, break you down, a bunch of stuff. But are they damaging you? Not necessarily. You know what I mean? But there's a window for what? For protein breakdown, protein synthesis. See what I mean? Wow. Okay. The hardest part is to increase that protein synthesis. Let's say you did work out. Okay. There's no damaging effect or anything. You understand what I'm trying to explain to you? There's no damage. There's nothing. Okay. I'm going to eat this protein to exceed that breakdown. What breakdown? Your body's breaking down every day. It's breaking down. It's increasing. It's breaking down.
definitely lower than what a lot of people were historically taught.
Yeah.
But there's some other nuance to that. So I want to be clear. I am not saying it's wrong to eat more. I'm not saying there aren't even some benefits. But if we're going to talk purely
It's about time you admitted to that.
muscle growth,
Yeah.
purely muscle growth. So someone like me who's 100 kilograms, that's about 160 grams of protein.
Yeah, but is Blaha building any muscle? Does he look like he's building? His body is building. Like if you were to lift every single day a box in the factory, right, and you kept getting bigger and bigger, and it never stopped. Or let's say you got this. Let's say you got damaged. That's even worse. Let's say you got damaged every time you came in there. You'd get rhabdo and die. You'd end up in a stupor, in a coma, dead. But let's just say, for sakes, let's say that a weight could build a body, and every day you lifted these boxes in the factory, and you kept growing and growing forever. You'd commit suicide and die. See what I mean? So you have two problems. If you were to lift and you were to build muscle every time you went to the factory, and you lifted and you're building your muscle, you fuck, it would be endless. You die. You commit suicide, kill yourself. Then here's the second problem. Let's just say that, yeah, okay. Let's say muscles damage. You go to the gym, they damage. Okay. You're in pain. You wake up the next day, you're in pain. You can barely move your arms. They're stuck and everything. You go back into the factory lifting again in a damaged state now. Get it? And it becomes fibrotic. It's not able to repair because you're using your body a lot more than you usually. I mean, look, in a damaged state, you can still kind of move around and do stuff, but you definitely don't want to take it to a physical job, moving stuff around a lot. It could be taxing, and then you get rhabdo because you never give it a chance to repair and remodel, and now you're breaking down more proteins than are being built up because you're lifting more heavier shit. Get it? And that's when rhabdo kicks in. It becomes a disease, and then yeah, you got to admit yourself to the hospital. They're going to have to induce you in a coma for an entire week. It's crazy. It happens to a lot of people out there. You have no clue. You have no idea. There's a lot of crazy people out there.
What I thought was interesting, this was even noted years ago, so anecdotally talking big, massive pro bodybuilders, you guys remember Nasser El Sabate? IFBB Pro used to compete in the Olympia. He had said one time, he's like, I went down to 150 grams of protein a day at one time, and I gained just as much.
Mr. Sambati, you mean drug addict? He wasn't building any muscle. He's a drug addict. He's not a bodybuilder. Bodybuilders are people that go to gyms and build their bodies. You understand? They go to the gym to break down their body and then they go home to build their bodies. That's what they do, okay? That's real bodybuilding. I don't know about drug addicts going on a stage and posing, like fucking taking cosmetics all day. You know what I mean? Women wear cosmetics, dude. These people women or what?
Muscle was still placing in the top 5 of the Mr. Olympia. He goes,
Yeah, he wasn't building any muscle. Without damage, he's not building any muscle. You're just increasing the sarcoplasm. See what I mean? One can exceed the other. I think people don't even understand this. One can exceed the other, bro. Christ. Look at this. Hold on a second, man. Fibular packing. So here's myofibrillar packing, okay? So you see this sarcoplasmic myofibrillar packing. Now notice sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Now you have myofibrillar and sarcoplasmic. Now notice the sarcoplasmic has overtaken what? The myofibrillar growth. Now in myofibrillar, it's myofibrillar to sarcoplasmic. But in packing, there's more myofibrillar than there is sarcoplasmic. See what I mean? So you can have one more than the other. So when people say, oh, it's not possible, it is possible because science will corroborate it. They have studies on it. You understand me? Just people there, they don't understand this. They don't understand how that is accomplished. What's the training for that? Damage, that's what. Eccentric training.
There's definitely, we don't seem to need as much as we think. And that was even his own observation.
No, if you're damaged, and depending on how much damage you got in that session, I don't know. I can't say for sure. You're going to need a lot. You're going to need a lot. Yeah. The most important is right after the damaging session. If you did a real massive damaging session right afterward, you definitely want to eat a lot. Those 2 days, let's say you did your upper body, did your leg day the next day, you really want to eat a lot those first 2 days. Breakdown. You're apoptotic.
But that's just anecdote of a pro bodybuilder, right? Because a lot of people are like, yeah, but this other pro bodybuilder eats 400, 500 grams. Yep, absolutely. But here's the point. Are they necessarily gaining more muscle for it? Probably not. Probably really helpful though when they're...
Again, like I said, you really want to eat right after that damaging session to build up those proteins, the contractile proteins. And there's a window there. See what I mean? There's a certain window, goes for a certain period of time where it can absorb a lot more. Like I said, most important is those 2 days. It's still going for the next couple days. I mean, protein synthesis is extended, blood levels are elevated until those muscles are repaired and remodeled by the end of the week. But those first 2 days are extremely important. People don't even realize that. And the timing as well. You definitely, right after your damaging session, you definitely want to eat a lot. And you want to eat animal protein. You know, whether it's fish, meat, whatever you're eating there. I don't seafood. Eat a lot of it.
Try to trim
as much as you can. Hell, even drink a liter of milk if you can. If it's raw milk, even better.
body fat down. Because that's a whole different topic, isn't it? Right? When they're prepping for the show, they're struggling with appetite, thermic effect. Now that's a different story. There could be some, there's actually merit to that's not actually stupid, believe it or not. It's actually not dumb at all. There's a method to that. But I digress. Back over to the muscle growth. Well, what do we have in studies? And this is what throws people off, because they're like, well, no, it's probably not for real bodybuilders. No, we're talking when serious competitive bodybuilders have been studied in the lab. Olympic weightlifters, we're talking who have qualified for the Olympics. Okay, so this is the caliber we're talking about when professional bodybuilders, both natural and unnatural, have been tested, and professional weightlifters who have qualified and been invited to the Olympics. So we're at this caliber. This is the upper echelons. This is the top 1% of lifters. Those studies and even meta-analysis that look at it are like, yeah, about 1.5 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. They don't gain muscle beyond that. They don't seem to gain muscle beyond that at all. Okay?
Blah makes it sound like you're gaining muscle magically. Like all you have to do is just do these frivolous exercises like blah, and guess what? And eat this protein, 6 grams per whatever per body part or some bullshit, and the magic's gonna happen. These muscles, they're just gonna magically grow.
Some studies that still show very, very robust growth as low as 100 grams if it's high quality animal protein. Now, vegan diets, that's not been the case when that's been looked at. Like animal source protein. No.
Then why isn't anybody growing in the gym, Blaha? Why are they all trying to buy the magic powder, the magic ingredients that'll grow them these fucking muscles, bro? They don't even understand the point of what builds muscles in bodybuilding. They don't even understand. They don't have a clue. Let me explain to you one more time in this video for the dumb people that are out there. When you lift against gravity, that's where muscles are built. They're built going down with weights in the stretch position, okay? Going with gravity. They don't grow going against fucking gravity in the opposite effing fucking direction. Get it, man? They grow when you go heavy, motherfucking heavy with gravity. You understand me? So when people say you have to get stronger to get bigger, well, yeah, you have to lift heavier in the eccentric. Duh. Get it? In the eccentric, not concentric. You gotta lift fucking astronomically heavy, eccentrically, to cause these damages, these micro damages in the muscle, so it can adapt. How does it adapt? By protecting you from what? From getting injured. That's the whole point. What causes injuries in lifting? Eccentric exercise. Okay, so how does your body protect you? It protects you by building what? Muscle. Duh. Okay, how does the body protect you from being injured lifting concentrically? Gives you more force production. See what I mean? I don't know. A boulder could be crashing down on your head. So it gives you force production in the opposite direction. So it aligns your muscles and shortens them. It makes them smaller. And so it gives you this force production. So let's say the garage door fell down. You could hold the garage door up. Maybe. I don't know. But who cares? Does it really matter? The point is this. Regardless, if it was an emergency and the garage door fell down on you, your body would kick in, and adrenaline, a very powerful hormone, would pop out, and it would allow you to hold that door. So did you need to go to the gym? And I had to practice that lifting at the OHP because, I don't know, maybe one day my garage door might fall on my head. Like, that's very unlikely to happen to you, for fuck's sakes, but whatever. You know what I mean? Or I have to impress somebody to lift a bench press a heavy weight. But you physically have never gotten stronger. But you're going to equate lifting a heavy weight concentrically as being physically strong. You have to be retarded. You understand me? You never got physically strong. You understand? You never overcome this thing of being injured because it's based on eccentric lifting. Duh.
That's going to be too low. In fact, we had that one recent study done to where 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight on a vegan diet, the women all lost muscle and strength. They lost muscle and strength as experienced lifters. But that was
all these women on vegan diets, they lost muscle and strength, and yeah. Were they taking steroids?
Plant source. So again, we're getting down towards the bottom end of that range.
Plants are garbage.
Plant source. So again,
Plants are garbage.
we're getting down towards the bottom end of that range with a lower quality protein. Yeah, it wasn't even sufficient to make.
Okay, well, not all of them. There are some, like I said before, like brewer's yeast is pretty powerful type of plant. It's been around for, I don't know, millions of years of some crap.
What they had. But if we're talking about mostly animal source, high bioavailability, yeah, you can get away with that low. It's almost why I tell people if you're even worried about getting enough protein, it's a couple scoops of whey protein a day completely, probably for most people, will put you in a situation where you don't even need to track anymore in terms of just gaining muscle. And that's just being realistic. Being realistic. Now, we could make another argument. It's actually the opposite. I've seen the best researchers and scientists have said it may be the opposite of what people think. They're like, oh, those pro bodybuilders and the really serious advanced lifters need more protein. And actually,
I love this. Those pro fake cosmetic bodybuilders, which are not bodybuilders. I don't know why people keep equating them as being bodybuilders. Bodybuilding is not about injecting drugs and going on a stage looking pretty, taking cosmetics.
a lot of them have noted they may need less. So that's kind of the problem with some of those studies too. Okay. Actually, advanced lifters gain muscle slower. Straight up, we gain muscle slower. Way.
Advanced lifters gain muscle slower. No, I gained muscle faster as an advanced lifter because I finally understood what built muscle. You understand me? As a person that wasn't an advanced lifter lifting, I didn't know what built muscle. I thought I was like everybody else. Well, in the beginning, I mean, I was like, full range of motion, this and that. Still used full range of motion, but I used it in a different way. I utilized it in a different way later. Then later, eventually, I got more advanced. I moved into something called eccentric overload lifting. That was a much more advanced modality. You know what I mean? Well, people don't even know that. It's not a very big known fact because they don't think about that. They don't think about what's the difference between, like a guy wrote me, he didn't even know the difference between concentric and eccentric. So yeah. So the thing is this, you need to know the difference between what does concentric do as opposed to eccentric. Okay, what exercise would build muscle? Eccentric. Why does it build muscle? To protect you from what? From being injured. In what? In the eccentric, because it's dangerous. Okay. How does your muscle build lifting concentrically? It doesn't. You understand me? So how does it protect you lifting concentrically from the weight? It shortens the muscle, aligns it in parallel so you can exude some force production. But in eccentric exercise, you will get more in parallel and in series because it's got to protect you. It's a much more, it's dangerous. You're going with gravity. See the difference? You understand the difference? But people in the gym, they don't think about that. They don't think about, this is based on, muscles are built because they protect you. Yeah, that's why science says, when it grows these sarcomeres, series and whatever, parallel, yada, 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 they're more resistant from further assaults. Why are they resistant from further assaults? Because they protected you. They're protecting you. Get it? That's the whole point. Duh. They're protecting you, and then but you want to build more of them. See what I mean? So you have to give them something to protect. So you have to lift astronomically heavier eccentrically and possibly add more sets, same rep scheme, add more sets or weight or more weight or sets and weights together. Get it? To overcome that.
Way slower. In other words, we're not going to convert as much protein into.
So let's think about how much stronger you could get. So the more of these myofibrillars you build, if they protect you from being injured, how much stronger can you get building more of them? See what I mean? Do they make you physically stronger? Do you get physically stronger? Listen to the word. If eccentric exercise builds muscles to strengthen you, to make you stronger, your ligaments, your tendons, even your bone gets micro tears and your muscles, and now it rebuilds and remodels stronger. Are you not physically stronger? But if you lift concentrically, you will wear out your joints, you'll weaken your joints, you'll weaken your spine, you'll weaken your muscles. You know that? Trust me. You'll weaken your bones and stuff. Over time, they could become brittle. You'll have all kinds of problems lifting against gravity. Because think about it, when astronauts go out in space, go out with gravity to space, what happens? They shrink. They shrink. Get it? They shrink. They get small. But when they land on planet Earth and they touch the ground, gravity makes them expand and get strong. That's what gravity does. So when you go with gravity, you get stronger. It's really simple.
New muscle tissue as someone who's newer. We might technically need a little less, in theory. Also, there's
That's why concentric exercise is not a superior modality to eccentric. It's not superior.
the case of people who've been trained.
But many people lift inferior. They're all lifting they're suffering from inferiority complex. This inferiority complex means that they have to perform like they think, well, if I lift a heavy weight concentrically, then that must mean I'm strong. But in fact, you are weak. You are weak because in the physical, the only thing that matters in the physical world is that you're big and strong. In the animal kingdom, the biggest and strongest animals survive. The small animals that think they're strong, these small, strong animals, they don't survive against bigger, stronger animals. The bigger, stronger ones, they dominate and eat the fuck out of them. Like, look, a fucking rhinoceros is a big animal. He's big, he's got that, fucking pointy horn or whatever, for protection, but he's big. But guess what? Compared to a fucking bull elephant, he ain't nothing. You understand me? That bull elephant steps on that fucking rhinoceros like it was a cockroach. Because bigger, stronger.
Training a long time, they're very efficient at utilizing protein for building muscle. Their body is pretty good at it at that point, has a lot of experience. So we could...
I love this one. They're efficient at building protein. They have a lot of experience. Man, those plant eaters, you're full of shit, man. They don't have nothing. Doesn't work. They're taking steroids.
Possibly make the case for the novice lifter needing more than that. But then again, you come over and say, but how much is that really? I mean, so even that 1.6, if you were to take it up a little bit to 2 grams, right? That might be what some people would recommend. And there's been a couple studies on novices that suggested that might actually be helpful. But how much is that really? I mean, if a novice weighs 70 kilos, you see where I'm going? 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. It's only 140 grams. I mean, we're still down in that 150, 160.
Again, I'll tell you one more time. The best modality for building muscle is eccentric because that's where the damage is going to happen. You need to eat a lot of protein. The growth factor in building muscle eccentrically is going to be rapid. It's going to be rapid. It's going to be fast. It also depends on your damaging sessions. I don't know how much damage you're getting in that session. I also don't know how much people are eating after a damaging session. I would just put it this way. If you got a good damaging session, you definitely need to eat. Look, if you're going to the gym lifting for 2 hours or even 3 or whatever it is you're doing there, you need to eat for those 1, 2, 3 hours. Yeah. You need to eat about the same amount of time that you put in the gym, if not longer. And then you need to still keep eating throughout the day. You need to eat a lot.
Range. Because again, even though they need more for body weight, still they're smaller. The net total amount, it still ends up being in that range. What about other things? All right, that's just for gaining muscle. What about cutting? What about recomposition? Well, that's a little different. Yeah.
What about recomposition? My old video back last summer. What did I do? You see my eating videos from the buffet. Practically ate there 5 days a week at some point. I was eating 5 days a week. I just ate tons and tons and tons of meat. I didn't even work out the entire summertime. That entire summertime, I did not work out. I even went to the gym just to do 2 videos before I stopped going to that gym. I didn't go anymore to that gym. So I just came in there and I posed in the mirror. I didn't even work out. I just came in, kind of hung out, whatever, walked around, posed, made a video, and I left. You know what I mean? That's it. And you notice I'm very dry and very lean. And that was because all I did was eat a ton of meat. See what I mean?
There's definitely been data showing that if you're trying to get leaner, jacking your protein up can be helpful for a couple of reasons. Number one, thermic effect. Okay? Thermic effect, like higher, just straight metabolic benefits. Protein burns through more heat than other calorie sources do. So, example, let's say you're cutting on 2,500 calories.
Yeah, I don't know. They did a study in Canada. I think it was University of Toronto. They did a study on a bat. I just saw it on YouTube. They had this bat run on some kind of a treadmill or something, and it was one of those blood bats. They had it drink blood from some cow, and they added something to the blood or something. They wanted to see what energy it's running on, and it moves really quick. They move quick, bats. They're quite interesting, these so-called vampire bats. And they were burning amino acids as energy. They burn amino acids as energy. So if your body doesn't really have enough energy to go on, let's say there's, whatever, it'll burn amino acids as energy. It's a known fact.
But you've added 100 grams of protein into that out of what you were eating. Well, your maintenance is probably going to be higher based on that, right? It may speed your cut up just a hair because, well, higher energy output, calories in, calories out. Higher protein intakes crank up calories out. Number two,
I don't know that.
Protein helps with appetite. See where we're about to go here? So, talking calories in, calories out, losing body fat.
What's with this protein stuff? Animal protein is high in nutrients. There's no deficiency in it. What are you talking about?
I mean, maintaining muscle, there could be real metabolic and cutting benefits to taking the protein up. Not for better muscle preservation. A lot of the studies show it's not
So
actually.
there you go. So he's telling you that there's cosmetic benefits for increasing protein in your diet. Again, he thinks bodybuilding is about cosmetic look. To me personally, I think powerlifting is for fucking retarded people out there, okay? I think crazy people do powerlifting. It's useless. There's no point. Why do you need to lift a heavy weight in the opposite direction of gravity? For what purpose? For what purpose? For show and tell? Because you have nothing fucking better to do? Bodybuilding is just about building your body big and strong. It's better to build yourself strong. Make yourself strong. Build yourself really strong. You understand me? And it's a carry over to the rest of your life. Because when you get fucking old, you're gonna cry. When you drop and break your hip and whatever, you're falling and stumbling and sarcopenia and all that shit. Like Blaha, look at him with the skinny legs, the skinny arms, and the big body. That fat round body with the skinny arms and skinny legs. That is sarcopenia. That's what Blaha suffers from. You understand me? He's not strong. He's lying to you. He's not strong. Doesn't matter if he's injecting strength to lift something relatively heavy. You can say lift in the opposite direction concentrically. But it is useless and pointless and stupid to lift something against gravity. You understand me? And not building yourself strong and pretending you're strong by lifting something in the opposite direction.
Better to go up. But what about appetite, thermic effect? So you want to eat less, you feel the need to eat a little less, you get a little less hungry, and you burn a little more calories. Now, if you're trying to get ripped, is that a bad thing? No, I'm going to say that's a pretty positive thing.
Getting ripped has nothing to do with bodybuilding. Nothing.
We also then have to factor in higher protein impact stuff like collagen synthesis, tendon.
Again, getting ripped is not bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is just about building your body, breaking it down and building it up. Breaking it down and then building it up. Has nothing to do with any of these things he's talking about, cosmetic.
Okay? Tendon health, tendon recovery, that could be a factor too. So
What about tendon health, tendon recovery? It's not regenerative, dude. Concentric lifting is not regenerative. So what is it? The opposite. It's the opposite of regeneration, yes. See, eccentric exercise is associated with regeneration. So what is concentric exercise associated with? Deterioration. You get it? Regeneration, deterioration. It deteriorates you. So when you try to, here's the thing. He can't squat eccentrically 500, but he can squat it concentrically. So the problem with that is that eccentrically is always gonna make you your athleticism is gonna be much more better. You understand me? Because you can only handle so much eccentrically. You have to go with your physical strength. But what he's going with is fucking nervous system strength. And so your body hasn't caught up. And so it's weak. And so all that pressure is causing the sarcomeres to shorten, then they're aligning in parallel, there's no growth. And then what happens is this, so you're compounding this weight on top of you, right? On your joints and everything. It weakens you. And then when you try to climb stairs or try to run and do athletic things, you're very bad athletically. You're extremely poor. Your athleticism is extremely poor. And anybody that thinks that they can increase their sprints by doing deadlifts is really stupid. That's why that John Jones idiot, he's trying to lift power lifters, like powerlifting. He does that kind of powerlifting shit. And no wonder why he's on steroids. That's why they equate him being on steroids, because they know that powerlifting is associated with what? Poor athleticism. Okay, what's associated with athleticism? Eccentric exercise. Why? Because it lengthens the sarcomere and series, which are associated with strength, power, speed, and performance. You get it, man? That's why these people in these crazy sports like powerlifting, they're not good at doing any other athletics. That's not a carryover to other sports. So what is a carryover to sports? Bodybuilding. Why? This is based on athleticism. It's based on lifting eccentrically, increasing the sarcomeres in series and in parallel, both. So it's a carryover. So what the fuck is powerlifting? Garbage. You understand me? It's garbage. And again, you don't need to lift that heavy. There's no purpose behind it. I need to lift 900 pounds off the floor. For what purpose, fucking? For what purpose? Makes no sense.
Well, again, that may actually dictate bumping protein up a little bit more in some cases.
Like I said, it's better to increase your physical strength. Your physical strength. Increase it by increasing the myofibrillars. That is much more intelligent than concentrically trying to get the nervous system to increase concentrically. That's just retarded.
Right? Or if you're recovering from an injury. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that.
Thank God, me too. I'll see you in the next one. Tell what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, friends. That was ridiculous.